He had no money, no skills, no connections. One night, everything he built burned to the ground. What he did next turned him into someone his entire town would never forget. Some people spend their entire lives waiting to be ready, waiting to be confident, waiting to be chosen, waiting for the perfect moment to finally begin. And one day, they wake up and realize their life is already behind them. Because here is a truth most people don't want to hear. Nothing meaningful is free. Not confidence, not self-respect, not success, and definitely not the life you secretly dream about. Every real transformation demands a price, and the price is usually pain, discipline, failure, and time. Welcome to Glaze English. Today, I want to share a story with you. Not just a story to help you practice English, but a story that might quietly change the way you see your own life. This is the story of a young man named Leo. Leo was 20 years old. He lived in a small, silent town hidden between mountains, where days passed slowly and dreams rarely escaped. Nothing exciting ever happened there, and most people believed nothing ever would. Leo's family was not poor in love, but they were poor in money. His father, Mark, spent long days fixing broken engines, coming home exhausted and smelling of oil. His mother, Claire, cleaned houses for other families, quietly trading her time for just enough to survive. And his little sister, Sophie, only 10 years old, looked at Leo like he was already a hero. But late at night, when the house was silent, Leo did not feel like a hero. He lay awake, staring into the darkness, listening to the wind outside his window, feeling a question growing heavier in his chest with every passing day. What happens to a dream when you are born into a life that seems too small to hold it? One cold evening, Leo sat outside his home, looking up at the stars, and whispered words that many people have felt, but few ever say out loud. I want to give my family a better life. But how do I even start when we can barely survive tomorrow? Later that night, he spoke to his father, and his father answered him with a sentence that would quietly shape the rest of his life. Dreams are not free. If you want something, you have to fight for it. Start with what you have, even if it's small. At that moment, Leo didn't realize it, but he had just been given the most dangerous gift of all, a reason to begin. If you feel something stirring inside you already, make sure you subscribe to this channel and support Glaze English, so we can continue creating powerful stories like this to learn English and rebuild your mindset together. Because what Leo was about to do next would test everything he believed about himself. From that night on, Leo could no longer sit still. The words of his father did not leave him. They followed him through the streets, through his small room, through every quiet moment when doubt usually lived. Start with what you have, even if it's small. If he truly meant to change his life, then waiting was no longer an option. A few days later, while walking through town early one morning, Leo noticed something so ordinary that most people had stopped seeing it. Several neighbors were heading out with empty bags, preparing for the long walk to the nearest bakery outside town. Fresh bread was loved here, but it was not easy to get. And in that simple observation, Leo felt something shift. Maybe he did not need a big idea. Maybe he only needed a useful one. The thought stayed with him. What if the bread came to them? What if he became the bridge between a distant bakery and the people of his town? There was only one problem. Leo had no money, no savings, no safety net. Most people would have closed the door on the idea right there. Leo opened it. Before sunrise the next morning, he left his house and began to walk. The road to the bakery was long. The air was cold. His steps were heavy, not only from distance, but from fear. He had never asked anyone for an opportunity before. He had never placed his future in someone else's hands. When he finally reached the bakery, he stood outside for a moment, feeling his heart beat in his chest. Then he pushed the door open. Behind the counter stood Mr. Anderson, an old man with tired eyes and flour on his sleeves. "I want to sell your bread in my town," Leo said. "I don't have money to pay you now, but if you trust me for 1 week, I will sell it, bring you your money back, and keep only a small profit." The old man studied him. "Why should I trust you?" he asked. Leo did not look away. "Because I am willing to work harder than I ever have in my life." The silence felt endless. Then Mr. Anderson spoke. "1 week. If you fail, don't come back." That week became the beginning of everything. Leo carried baskets of bread back to town before the streets were fully awake. He set up a small stand near the park. At first, people walked past him. They were unsure. They did not know him. They did not trust what was new. So Leo smiled. He greeted everyone. He offered small pieces of bread to strangers. He spoke with warmth, not as a salesman, but as someone grateful to be there. Slowly, someone stopped. Then another. By sunset, the baskets were empty. That night, Leo returned to the bakery and placed the money on the counter with shaking hands. Mr. Anderson counted it carefully. Then he nodded. "You kept your word." From then on, Leo's life found a new rhythm. He woke at 4 every morning. He walked miles before most people opened their eyes. He carried weight on his shoulders and hope in his chest. Day after day, he repeated the same simple actions. Walk, carry, sell, smile. 2 months later, he bought a small cart. It was not a miracle, but it was proof. Proof that small actions, done relentlessly, could begin to change a life. And for the first time, Leo understood something deeply. He was no longer just dreaming. He was paying the price to become someone new. But as Leo stood behind his small cart each morning, watching the sun rise over the town, he slowly realized something uncomfortable. Selling bread was no longer enough. He could feel it inside him. If he truly wanted to grow, he could not spend his life carrying other people's work. he had to learn to create his own. That decision led him back to the bakery before dawn. When Leo asked Mr. Anderson to teach him how to bake, the old man did not answer right away. And when he finally agreed, his voice was firm. Baking is not talent, it is patience, and patience hurts. The lessons began at 3 in the morning. The bakery was quiet, filled only with the sound of breathing, metal trays, and soft dough being worked on the table. Mr. Anderson showed him how to measure, how to mix, how to knead, how to wait. And Leo failed at nearly every step. The dough tore in his hands. The bread came out flat. Some mornings, the smell of burnt flour filled the room. His fingers ached. His arms shook. More than once, Leo sat down, staring at ruined bread, wondering if he had made a mistake. One morning, after another failed batch, he whispered, "Maybe I'm not made for this." And in that quiet moment, his father's words returned to him again, not loudly, but clearly. Dreams are not free. Leo stood up. The next day, he arrived earlier. He moved slower. He paid attention. He stopped fighting the process and started respecting it. Day by day, something changed. The dough felt different in his hands. The timing made sense. The smell of the bread softened. 2 weeks later, Mr. Anderson cut open a loaf, looked at the inside, and nodded once. "This is real bread," he said. "You earned it." Leo began baking at home. His family watched as their small kitchen filled with warmth and quiet determination. Sophie packed bread with care. His mother stayed awake to make him tea. His father said little, but his eyes said everything. Leo's bread improved. His products expanded. And without noticing, he was no longer just working. He was becoming. And as Leo's bread slowly became known around town, something else began to grow alongside his reputation. Expectation. People no longer came only for convenience. They came because they believed in what he was building. For a time, Leo allowed himself to feel that quiet satisfaction. He expanded his menu, worked longer hours, and eventually saved enough to rent a small shop. It was modest, but it was warm. The smell of fresh bread now drifted from his own doorway. His family stood beside him, and for the first time, his dream had a physical address. Then one morning, Leo noticed a crowd gathering down the street. A new bakery had opened. Bright signs, clean windows, beautiful displays. A young owner full of confidence. Curiosity pulled people away. Then habit did. Then numbers. Leo watched customers walk past his door. Fear did not arrive loudly. It settled quietly in his chest. For a moment, he felt the old helplessness trying to return. But instead of turning away, Leo turned toward the problem. He asked questions. He listened. He watched. He painted his storefront. He improved his presentation. He learned to decorate, to create, to surprise. He stayed later. He woke earlier. and slowly he felt his place in the town return. Months passed. The bakery became busy again. Familiar faces filled the room. Laughter came back. His little shop no longer felt fragile. Then, one stormy night, as Leo prepared to close, he smelled something wrong. Smoke. He turned and saw it climbing near the oven. His heart stopped. He ran. He grabbed water. He fought the flames until they died. But when the air finally cleared, so had much of what he built. Blackened walls, broken equipment, silence. The next morning, people stood outside and whispered. Leo stood among the ruins of his effort, feeling the weight of years pressing down on him. And for the first time since he began, he had nothing left to lean on but who he had become. And in that silence, with the smell of smoke still in the air, Leo finally understood what this journey had truly been about. He counted what little money he had left. It was not enough. Fear rose again, familiar and cold. But it did not stay. Instead, Leo took a breath and began asking a different question. Not, "Why did this happen to me?" but, "What must I do now?" He started baking again at home with what remained. He told his customers the truth. He did not hide. He did not disappear. He served what he could when he could. Something unexpected followed. People returned, not just to buy, but to help. Some brought ingredients. Some offered small donations. Some gave their time. They cleaned. They repaired. They encouraged. Months later, Leo opened his doors again. The bakery was brighter, stronger, filled not only with bread, but with meaning. On opening day, Leo stood before the people who helped rebuild his dream. "Nothing in life is free," he said. "Not success, not respect, not confidence. Everything is earned through effort, patience, and persistence." Leo had not just rebuilt a bakery. He had proven something far more powerful. That when you refuse to quit, life eventually refuses to abandon you. Leo's journey is not powerful because he built a bakery. It is powerful because he rebuilt himself. Step by step, mistake by mistake, loss after loss, he paid the price that most people avoid. He paid with early mornings, with tired hands, with doubt, with embarrassment, with starting over when it would have been easier to quit. And through that quiet, invisible effort, he earned something far greater than money. He earned self-respect. He earned skill. He earned the trust of others. He earned the right to believe in himself. That is what "nothing is free" truly means. It does not mean life is cruel. It means life is honest. It means growth demands participation. It means dreams are not delivered, they are built. And it means that every small action you take today is a vote for the person you are becoming. The deep lesson of Leo's story is this: you do not wait until you are confident to begin. You become confident by beginning. You do not avoid failure to succeed. You use failure as training. And you do not need a perfect situation. You need a committed decision. So how do you apply this to your life? Start smaller than your fear, but bigger than your excuses. Choose one habit you can practice daily, one skill you can slowly improve, one action you can repeat even when motivation disappears. Do not ask, "How fast can I change my life?" Ask, "What price am I willing to pay every day?" Because that answer is already shaping your future. Now, here is a simple question for you. What is one small action you can start today to move closer to the life you want? Please leave your answer in the comments so we can all learn from each other's perspectives. And if this story gave you value, subscribe to the channel and support Glaze English so we can continue creating meaningful English listening content and motivational stories for you.